All right. So continuing with the flatting colors, the whole point is just to fill up all the shapes. Even the shapes that you would want to have white, you're going to fill them up with something. So you won't see white here because it's too similar to the background. So when you do want to do something other than a pastel, you can go to the color option and you just mix your own, right? This is the full color selector with the millions of colors. So if I want kind of a warmish, creamy white, I might do it in this section. Pure white would be right there. I recommend you don't color with pure white in your flatting or your flat color stage. So I'm just going to fill the eyeball with that. And then the police car, the parts that would be white of the police car, which would be a lot of it, right? I can fill with that. It's also helpful so you can see what's filled and what's not filled. Let's see, go back to my swatches, go back to the pastels. Yes. So I am first trying to fill up everything that's nicely contained. But I have in this design definitely some things that aren't nicely contained. So for instance, this shadow, right, is big and open right there. So if I click a color to fill it, it's going to fill in everything. So how do I fix that? This is what you do. Darius, phone down. This is going to apply to you. So if you have shapes that are open that you want to fill with a color, you change from your paint bucket to your paint brush. And I like to do this with the tablet. It's just like digital inking. But all you do is you connect wherever the shape is open with your color. So I'm going to connect it this way. Let's see, I'm going to go right from here to there. Okay. I connected those dots. Now I use the paintbrush and I fill it in. Whoops. It should have worked. Is there another opening? Make sure I got it all. Yeah, let's see. I think that's contained. Huh. I'm a little confused. Yeah, I just tried it. No, that should work. Let's see. What am I missing? Oh, right there. Yes, indeed. Ah, good. Well spotted. All right. So yes, the idea is you want to paint the gaps with the same color you're going to fill it with. So, yep, I use my paintbrush. Get that little one. It doesn't matter if you go on top of the black lines. In fact, it's better to, because you're on this layer, right? Your black line art covers it. And now you use the paint bucket and you can fill it all in. Now, why did it go into there? It's because there's a little gap right there. So I can do Command Z and I can protect this because I want those to be red and blue. And then fill it in. So it's just a little bit more work. And if it leaves you a little anti-aliased edge like that, then just do it one more time and it will overtake it and give you pretty clean flat color. I also have that here, right, with this big part. So let's see, I'm going to do yellow on the inside. So I'm going to use my brush and I'm going to connect that yellow. I'll turn off my vector line art just so you can see clearly what I'm doing. I'm putting pixels between the blacks and kind of deciding on the shape of it, right? And then I am able to use my paint bucket and fill it in with that color. And if I want the orange, let's say the dark orange on this shape, I have to fill in all the gaps to close it. Like that, like that, like that, like this. That might be all, I think it is. And then I use the paint bucket and I can fill it in. Because if I don't do that, this happens, right? So if you ever see that happen, just hit Command Z and you'll be able to control it. What's next? I've got my little helicopter. I'm going to use red, and I'm going to use that here. I'm going to use green. No, I'll use blue. Do that here. Use orange here. Use yellow here. Use green. I'm just trying to get something down, right? Just get it filled up for now so we can move on to the next step. And then for things I think would look best being white, I can also, on my image, hold down Option and steal colors from myself. If I'm using the swatches, I don't need to hold Option. Do a dark blue inside. And then this is what gets annoying, like these little gaps, right? All of that needs to be filled. So just zoom in and get it done. But if you ever accidentally click on the black, hit Command Z, undo it, because you're trying to fill in between these pixels. Now, if it's really tiny and you can't actually click it, then it's fine. Not a big deal. Okay. Oh. Have I filled everything? Almost. But there's a little plane over here, and there's these tiny little bullets, and then there's the cop car. And like I said, we just want to fill it with something. And I'll use the white again, holding down Option. Fill that in, and then let's use the blue. Fill that in. And then what color should these little bullets be? Maybe this purple. Oops. Now this one's open, so what do? I take my paintbrush. This is really tiny, and I just fill it in. And then I can turn on my black vector on top of it, right? You see that little anti-aliased thing there? If I use my paint bucket and I click that again, that will close it up. Make it nice and clean. Yeah, so my color is pretty filled in now. Up, you see that little lip there? It's going to be really thorough. Get all of it as much as I can. Up, but I accidentally clicked on the black. There we go. So I think that's the best I can do. Okay. So now how do we check? Oh, I haven't done the cop car. How do we check? Well, I can do this now because it really helps. Make a duplicate of your blank white layer, Command J, and say Edit Fill with Middle Gray. Because when you color on white, everything looks dark. So middle gray, once you have your flats in, middle gray is a better way to judge the color variation. And now let me finish the cop car. Let's see, I'm going to make the windshield blue. That did not work. So lock your gray layer. Remember, only keep the layer you're affecting from being unlocked. And I'm going to fill this in. And I'm going to fill, everything that's gray needs to be filled in. I'm going to fill in the headlights. I'm going to fill in the tires and the hubcaps. And it should be a different color than the shadow underneath. And the back bumper. And the door handle. and the windows and the lights, blue and red. And then I want it white in there, so what do? I use my paintbrush, I hold down Option, I steal this white, and I paint a gap between there, and then I fill it in. And then I need hubcaps. Okay. So now I've got flatting color. Flatting color is not finished color. Sometimes it's not even good color, but I'm not finished with it yet because this is actually what flatting should look like. Right? Flatting should look like it doesn't have any blacks in it. So what do I need to do? I already have my black line art, so on my flatting layer, I turn off my black line art and I use my magic wand and I turn contiguous off and I click on the black. And it will select all the blacks everywhere. Yep. So on a tolerance of 32, I'm going to use the magic wand on this flatting layer I created. I'm going to turn off the layer above it that's also showing my black line art. That's the protected vector. And I click on the black anywhere, and it will select the black everywhere because I have contiguous turned off. So this is the magic wand. Then I can just hit delete, and it will delete all my black. Now, there's only one problem with this. Actually, there's no problem with this. I was going to say the problem was I had full bleed that was in the black, but that's going to also be on my vector. So this is why we don't color in with dark colors yet, because we're going to delete all those blacks. So your flat color will look like this on a gray background. Right? And on a white background, it might look like this. And the reason I like to use off-white is you see on a white background, it can be really hard to see where the color is, but there it is. There it is. Everything's filled in. Now, I think I didn't fill in, this will also show you if you're missing some things. I didn't fill in the bumper, and I didn't fill in that, and I didn't fill in that, and I didn't fill in that. And I can undo it, so I can do that before I deleted the black. And so let's do that quick. Or I could just do it with the paintbrush underneath, but this will be cleaner. So let's do a reflection of yellow here. Whoops. I need to turn contiguous. Oh, it is on. Let's see. So what is it not liking? Oh, because I already deleted the black. So I have to go before I deleted the black. There we go. Now I can drop that in, I can drop this in, I can drop the bumper in, and this, and that. Okay, now I can delete the black. So what I do, magic wand, contiguous is unchecked, tolerance of 32, click on the black anywhere, it will select the black everywhere, then hit delete. So that on your flatting layer, you only have the shapes of color that are each individually shaped and easy to select. Okay, then you have your black line art floating on top. That is a good time to save it. Command S. This is Karl, assignment 5, spot color, Kermitzilla, PSD, right? Now I move to the next step of coloring, which is changing from flatting colors to the local colors that I actually want. Right? And still just basic flat color. And one way to play with that I like is lock your flatting layer and then duplicate it and then rename it local flat color. And you can just start with this step if you want, but flat color always precedes everything else. Because especially if I'm inspired by kind of skateboard graphics, these colors look really crazy.